Morning, TJ. Thanks for the time today.
Absolutely.
Being the aggressor has been, such a theme for success this season for the team. You mentioned Saturday how that wasn't really the case. I was just curious what you and the team are kind of doing to make sure that that doesn't happen again, starting this week at Oklahoma State.
Well, being the aggressor for us starts with our ball pressure dictating, turning people over, having a tremendous sense of urgency. When we've been at our best, we've been able to do that defensively, which has allowed us to generate live ball turnovers and effectively score in that manner. And so I'm not sure why we didn't have a greater sense of urgency on Saturday. It's something we've talked about, we've practiced, and we've worked on, but for whatever reason, I felt like in the league, that was the one game that we didn't start with that aggressor mentality. So we've got to get back to it. We've been very clear and direct with our guys about what our formula for winning needs to be, and that how we can't deviate from that, regardless of what adversity or challenges we're having relative to our offense. And so I think it's continued emphasis, practice habits, intentionality, and a stubbornness in the game for our guys to be the aggressor. And that's what we need to do to be successful.
Randy Peterson, go ahead.
TJ, good morning. If the perimeter shots aren't falling like Saturday on Wednesday at Oklahoma State, what is for Iowa State against the Cowboys? What's the best plan B scoring option?
Well, I mean, teams in our league, there's a lot of switching, there's a lot of physicality, there's great defenses. So it's easy to say score at the rim and at the foul line, but teams design their defenses specifically for that not to happen, and they've got bodies and physicality to do so. So when you struggle to make shots from the perimeter, it's definitely going to make that challenge even greater. So we've got to shoot the right shots. We've got to shoot the best shots we can for our team in rhythm. We've got to have guys that understand that at times that means having a longer possession. And we've also got to generate turnovers off our defense to alleviate some of that pressure. So look, if we're not able to make 3-point shots, it'd be easy to say, well, let's just get layups and free throws. But the other team's trying to prevent those as well. So ultimately, it's our guys being very stubborn to get the best shot we can every possession. And I felt like on Saturday, part of the challenge is we took very early, long-range attempts. So it wasn't just that we weren't making shots. I felt like we were shooting early clock threes without giving ourselves the chance to get some of those opportunities at the foul line or at the rim. And we've got to be intentional to be able to stay the course and do that in a possession.
All right, Travis Hines, go ahead.
Hey, TJ, stubbornness is a word you use a lot. Can you explain what you mean when you say that?
Yeah, I think for us, like when we turn someone over, like we want to score in the open court. And I think that's pretty clear that most teams do. When we're not able to do that, stubbornness for us then involves we want to run an action. We want to be physical. We want to hit people. We want to screen. We want to be aggressive. And if that at that point in time, we either generated a really good shot or we didn't. So if we didn't, stubbornness involves getting to the next action. And so for us offensively, we run multiple actions. We run action into action into action. And stubborn means not breaking away from that unless we get a really, really good shot, which for us would be a layup or a drive to the rim, a wide open rhythm three for a guy shooting a very good percentage or a guy who's already made one or multiple shots before. And so stubborn involves just staying the course and being willing to score at the end of the shot clock. We've had a lot of games where we've been successful doing that. And when you break off and take a shot prior to that, it better be one that you make at a very, very high level every single day, or one that on that particular night is just, it's fallen for you. So stubborn is a mental tough mindset to stay the course and be willing to have a long possession where we make a shot at the end of the clock.
Is that tested now more than maybe previous with defenses having I guess just the volume of data of, okay, they know what shots you or whatever offense are not particularly efficient at, that they'll give you those spaces on the floor that you have to be, to use your word, stubborn, not to just take those if you think you can get a better shot later in the clock?
Yeah, I think that's the challenge, right? Because in our league, I think, like a lot of the defenses are in the top 10 in the country. And there's not all are the top 25 or the top 30. So like they generate turnovers, they have switchability, they have physicality. And so certainly, as you see in the league, like the best way to combat that is make perimeter shots, like that loosens things up. And so I do think that teams are more aware and are more intentional with the choices they're making as well. I still believe that there's like a staying power you can have in a game and in a possession to say, okay, you got us, you neutralized our first option, our second option, even our third option, but we're going to stay the course. And like at some point, someone on the defense, might not close out properly or might get caught ball watching or might miss a block out. And so we need to get to that point. And then, we are fortunate as well to have a guy like Isaiah Brockington who has consistently made hard shots and gets fouled on hard shots. So if there's anything to learn from it, it's, like the other night, he's 8 for 14. You'd like to even see him getting more of those attempts late as well.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Randy, go ahead.
TJ, excuse me. Everybody knew the month of January was going to be probably the toughest month. What do you guys have to do now? What are your thoughts about the way you guys played in the month of January? Let's just go there.
Well, I felt like, we're going to go specifically, like I was relatively happy with how hard we played against Baylor. I don't think we played perfect, but I thought we played good enough to give ourselves a chance. They're very gifted and talented and a lot of hard shots. We found a way to beat Texas Tech, which is what you have to do in this league, regardless of the circumstance. So I was pleased with that performance. Felt like against Oklahoma on the road, we weren't as physical and aggressive as we needed to be the last 10 minutes of the game. And on the road, you're going to lose that game if you're not. As we move forward, with our games beyond that, I felt like, I'm trying to think every game here, but like, I felt like Kansas and Texas, we played well. Like we played really good in both of those games. Like I was really pleased with our performance. Certainly loved to win the game at Kansas and had chances, but like we played about as well as we can. We just got to find a way to close it. I thought against Texas, we played, really well. Probably one of our best games to date. So like that was a really good, overall, those performances I was pleased with. This past week against Tech, physically, felt like we got it taken to us a little bit earlier in the week. And then I didn't like our intent and physicality and the fact that we only had 11 turnovers, but 7 were live ball and those turned into points. Like that wasn't us. We weren't the aggressor on Saturday. We weren't the team that was dictating. So, I mean, overall, if you want to look at the 7 games, I'd say I was really happy with 4. I was happy with 30 minutes of one of them. And the other 2 weren't good enough. We played a good half against Tech, but the second half wasn't. So, I mean, I don't look at it as like, hey, I know we had a tough 6-game stretch. Somebody told me it might be as tough, as any 6-game stretch, but like TCU's good and they've had a very successful season. So that was a game that most people would look at and say, well, that wasn't as tough, but guess what? It was. They're good. They're confident. They've won a lot of games. They're physical. And you've got to be ready to play every night. So with our team, there's a very specific winning formula. We don't have the option or ability to deviate. If we are not the aggressor, it's probably not going to go well for us. So we have one choice: be the aggressor, dictate the game, manage the possessions, have enough timely offense. And when we've been successful, that's what the equation has been.
Thank you, TJ.
Thank you.
All right, that's all we got for you. Thanks for your time today, TJ.